stage new future director of the club, Sergey Soprikin.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmasters. By the way, who here actually has a Toastmasters related New Year resolution? Like become a better public speaker? Anyone? The rest of you guys, are you sure you came to the right club? It says WorldSurfers Public Speaking Club there, so just think about it. Right? So we had a great meeting today, and we will hear a number of reports. The thing we usually start with are the personal evaluators. So every speaker had a personal evaluator assigned to them, which will now give the reports as to how well the speakers met their objectives. I will say right at the start that WorldSurfers, being an innovative club, introduces a ranking system for evaluators as well. So as you voted for speakers, you can vote for the best evaluator of the evening. To do this, you need to, again, log on to WorldSurfers/PE. You can also find this address at the back of the agenda. So PE stands for Personal Evaluation. And there you can vote for the best personal evaluation. We'll now hear 4 of them. We're going to start with Alexey Labzov, who will be evaluating the first speech by Diana Zubi. Alex, welcome to this.
Dear ladies, gentlemen, dear Diana, I'd like to start my report with mentioning one important thing. Today, Diana has been planning to present us a speech which should be inspirational. And that's why I'd like to organize my report basing on this idea. Frankly speaking, inspirational speeches are quite hard to deliver because they require hard work on both components. First, the form of presentation, and the second, the content. Let's look at the content first. After your presentation has passed about 1 hour, and after this 1 hour, what I have in my head from your presentation is 3 points. First, I remember 2 questions you started with regarding money and what others think about you. The second is the sumo man's, and the last one, the story of your sister. And of course, you were talking much more information. You were speaking about other facts, and I lost some information. And to avoid this situation, I'd recommend you the following tips. First, questions. You used quite a lot of questions, and it's hard to keep them all in one hand. That's why I'd recommend you concentrate on 2 or 3 main questions and organize all your presentation around them. Second point, you used 1 slide, sumo man's, and to support your ideas, you could use much more visuals. For example, you were talking about the time we spent on something, and you mentioned 80% and 20% proportion. That's why you could make a slide with a diagram or mention a Pareto rule or something of this way. And the last tip, story of your sister. The main part of your speech was dedicated to some kind of abstract things. That's why I'd recommend you to use more personal stories and to illustrate your ideas with such type of stories. Let's move to the form. What I like the most is poses you used. They helped you support your ideas. Gestures, generally they were appropriate most of the time, but sometimes your movements were unnecessary. That's why you should other time you should think about what I do this gesture, what should I say with it, etc., etc. And the last advice which I should propose you is a conclusion for inspirational speech. In the inspirational speech, you should inspire the audience, motivated to do something. And in your present presentation, what were your conclusion? I know you'll fail. With the falling intonation. You fail, guys. It's feel. That's why another time you are delivering the speech of the same kind, please remember my recommendations and try to use them to do it better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you marking the time for the university?
Please show them the time, because I had a feeling Alex was a bit over time and he didn't get any signs. All right, now, especially for those of you who are newcomers, I, as the general evaluator, can give brief feedback to the personal evaluators, because doing evaluations is also a skill we learn at Toastmasters. Giving constructive feedback and doing it almost on the fly, like half an hour after the speaker has finished, is also a pretty important skill which you can find useful in other things you do, in your work, in your other activities. So, about Alex's evaluation. The things I liked was that it was structured. You gave specific recommendations for improvement. You enumerated points. You addressed the objectives of the speech, which is also important because sometimes people just evaluate in terms of I liked, I didn't like. You stuck to the objectives. That was great. The things I would recommend you to think about. First, you spent a lot of time turned to Diana, so maybe address the audience from time to time. You are there for her, of course, but also for the audience. And also, well, you came to some good things towards the end of your evaluation. I was beginning to fear you would only criticize her, just a bit brave, criticizing the president in front of the whole club. So yeah, a point for bravery. But still, we are probably overusing the phrase sandwich technique, like praise and criticism, praise, but it has its merits. So maybe give some positive feedback at the beginning to cushion the blow. Otherwise, great evaluation for an experienced Toastmaster. You can follow this example. And I remind you that we have the voting sheet. So if you thought Alex was great, at the end you can mark him as the personal evaluator of the evening. But he will have competition, and upcoming on the stage is the personal evaluator number 2 for Natalia's speech, which will be Evgenia Lizka. Let's welcome Evgenia to the stage. Yeah. Give us your evaluation.
Hello, everybody. So, dear Natalia, thank you very much for your beautiful speech. You remind us that beauty will save the world. So now we know. For the beginning, I want to say that you was excellent and well prepared. It's only you had only 4 speeches in the club. So I think for 4th speech, this speech was great for the beginning. So your language was very clear. I could understand you very clearly. I think everybody also can understand Natalia very well. Then what I think you can work at. So you stay only on the one place, and I think you need to use the stage more, use your body language. So this you can, if you agree, I notice, and if you agree, you can work on it. I also notice that your voice, you have very beautiful voice, and you can use it, but I notice that you use it not as good as you can. So I think next time maybe you also can work on it.